Welcome to Doctor's Housecall. This is your chance to get in gear with Dr. Gear, a duly trained naturopathic medicine doctor and doctor of chiropractic, board certified in family medicine and minor surgery. Brought to you by Payson Health and Wellness Center at 801 East Highway 260 every Tuesday afternoon from 5 to 6, live on KMOG. You can call in now and speak to the doctor at 474-2427 with any questions, or after the show, call Dr. Gear during regular office hours, 474-7409.
Well, good evening. Mike Farrell here with you, and good evening to Dr. Gear.
Hello, Mike.
Tonight, Dr. Gear and his assistant Sherry are going to be talking about the liver. How can you clean your liver?
I got news for you. It's more than just cleaning the liver. You got to stop making the liver bad in the first place, because the liver all by itself is going to get well. It doesn't need a lot of cleansing. It needs a lot of don't put the poison in anymore. And if that poison is alcohol, or it's fatty foods that are overwhelming it, or your spine is twisted, interfering with the blood flow to the nerves that go to the blood vessels of the liver, or your digestive tract is all inflamed because you're eating the wrong foods, you got IgG, antibody formation, and heavy mucus on the lining of the intestinal tract. Oh my God, there's so many different things that can go wrong. And that liver is a primary detoxifier in your body. So you know that you've got a sore liver needing cleaning if your right mid to lower rib area has a deep ache in it, or when you push on it, it's sore down deep inside. That's one of the reasons. You put pressure on the right upper abdomen, and you say, oh, that just doesn't feel right. Not feeling good starting about 2 hours after eating a meal. That's when the food gets out of your stomach and into your small intestine, where the liver is being called upon to put bile into it to help you to digest your fats. And that's so important. Fats are essential for your body's hormones to be built and to go around and work in all the different parts of the body. So, another thing to look at is alternating constipation, diarrhea, or either one alone. Quite often that comes about because of toxic medications or toxic materials, or you knock your spine out of whack, you get your pelvis shifted and twisted. There's all kinds of physical things that cause it. Then you see blobs of fat floating in the toilet. Now this isn't big, 1 pound chunks of fat. This is floating blobs, blebs, like maybe the size of your little fingernail floating around. Another reason is not wanting to eat fatty foods. You eat fatty food, you say, I just don't feel good. So you have a sore pain under the right scapula, rib cage area. That's your back of your upper thorax, that's the rib cage, and underneath your wing bone, the scapula bone. People say it's their shoulder. It's not really the shoulder. It can be a reflex from the liver coming back up there. Quite often I find that ribs have been twisted, and the compromise of the circulation in the intervertebral foramen because of different things that people do, and then we're right-handed. Another thing to look at is waking up in the morning sore and achy all over, and that gets slowly better on moving around. There's a number of things that cause that, but the liver not detoxifying your bloodstream during the night certainly is a reason. And here's one for all you ladies. When your man wakes up and he's grouchy. Oh.
That's the liver, huh?
That might be the liver. He might need to get himself fixed so his spine is good, his diet is good, his elimination is good, and then he'll be good to you.
So he'll be getting up on the right side of the bed then?
He will be. Yeah. He won't be grouchy. But a real toxic liver is a serious matter, and it requires professional help in detoxifying. But most people that want to feel better have heard they can do so by doing a liver cleanse. Just what is a liver cleanse? Well, there's all kinds of liver cleanses out there.
Well, where do you start? How do you know what's right for you?
Well, I'm going to say to you the first thing to do is to eliminate all the things that make you feel bad.
Well, how do you know which ones are making you feel bad?
Actually, the best thing to do is to come in and have us look at you.
Oh, I think you're going to talk about the IgG test there.
I am. How did you know that?
I've been paying attention.
You've had a chance to see a few patients, haven't you?
Just a couple.
Yeah.
And the IgG is awesome. I love that test.
So the people that follow the information that they get with that test, how long before they start to feel better? That you see them coming into the office and they say to you, wow, I'm not hurting as much as I used to be.
I've seen in just a couple days people that actually stick to the diet. First of all, they're surprised at some of the things that they're showing sensitivities to. They weren't expecting some of the things to come up, but when they start following the diet and paying attention to what they're eating, it's within a couple of days they're feeling better.
So if they really want to get healthier, they have to get ready to change everything that they knew about diet, nutrition, and how to be healthy.
Well, like I said, a lot of people, they don't expect some of the foods that come up. They have preconceived notions that, oh, well, I'm sensitive to this, or I can eat plenty of that, and it doesn't always work out that way.
Well, it sure doesn't. I've lived with food sensitivity all my life, starting as a baby because I was fed cow's milk, and it almost killed me. I had horrible sinusitis, and my tonsils were growing together in my throat, and I had to have them cut out. So, if you've got these inborn allergies, that's what we call them. They are IgG reactions that your body is bringing the warriors to fight the invading organism. And in part of the process, there's an inflammatory reaction, and that causes a lot of problems.
So you can feel a sensitivity to food can show up as a sinus infection or somewhere else in the body?
Yes. Sinus infection, generalized aches and pains. You can think you might have rheumatoid arthritis or all kinds of named arthritis symptoms, or myofasciitis or fibromyositis, or
A list of itises.
all the itises. Yeah.
All the itises.
Right. I've even seen dermatitis and,
Really?
oh yeah. See, the body interacts very, very wonderfully well because your intestinal tract has its own brain, and that brain has neurological connections, and it has microbiome or bacteria connections to the brain of the physical body. So everything has to work together, and acupuncture has a thing called meridians, or areas of energy flowing through the body. And when you become really sensitive in medicine to these energy fields, you can actually feel them with your body, with your sensation. We have machines that can feel them also. So the machines sense it. We can find the points of interest. We can treat them with needles or without needles. By the way, the needles are the size of a hair, so you don't even feel them.
That helps.
Yeah.
You know what was bothering me about that.
Right. Big needles like we use to get blood out of people or inject people, those are much larger than acupuncture.
Okay, and Dr. Wyrick does acupuncture in our office.
Yes, he does, yeah. And he can increase the blood flow in various organs or decrease it using acupuncture reflexology techniques. He calls them by different words, Chinese medicine type stuff. And, There's lots of very interesting concepts in Oriental medicine. But I prefer the physiological approach, which is what we do. And because it's logical, sequential, stepwise. And I start first with the spine, and then I go to the digestion, the food, and then I go to the thinking process. Because all three of those are involved all the time. So, within just a couple of weeks of stopping eating and drinking foods that trigger an IgG response in the immune system, within 2 weeks, a couple of weeks, the entire body is cleansed of inflammatory molecules in the intestinal tract. Those cells in the tissues can begin the process of healing and making new daughter cells, and that's your liver, as well as your joints of your body and your muscles and all kinds of tissues. Your eyeballs, your earballs, your hairballs.
And we had a patient who lost, 8 pounds of inflammation just from sticking with that diet in the first 2 weeks.
Oh, that's very common. Very, very common. People don't realize how much gunk is in their bodies because of inflammation that's chronic because they've been eating the wrong foods, foods they may really like. You alluded a little bit earlier in the show of people being surprised by what foods they could have a problem with.
Mm-hmm.
I've had quite a few patients say to me, I don't want to take the test because I don't want to have to give up my favorite food.
Right.
Well, okay, enjoy your pain.
Well, and you don't have to give it up forever necessarily.
Well, we do have to heal the body.
Right, you let the body heal, but once you're healed, you can occasionally get some of those foods back, can't you?
Yes, but it depends on whether it's genetic or whether it's acquired.
Oh.
See, so that's something we have to find as we go along. So we just keep working on this and with people, and they just keep getting healthier and healthier and healthier. So, in addition to the IgG molecules, inflammatory molecules in the intestinal tract, there are many molecules in the environment which trigger real liver toxicity. And once we can identify those, they must be removed from the person with a bad liver. So the human body identifies, now this is not just from me, this is from Harvard Medical School. The human body identifies almost all drugs as foreign substances, that is, xenobiotics, and subjects them to various chemical processes, that is, metabolism, to make them suitable for elimination. This involves chemical transformations to A, reduce fat solubility, and B, to change biological activity. Those are all big words, aren't they?
They are.
Big concepts.
They are, but that's one of the reasons that taking one medication can sometimes lead to taking another medication to take care of the symptoms from the first medication, and it creates a vicious circle.
Exactly. And those are all toxic to the body. The liver has to detoxify them.
Absolutely.
And then the kidneys have to excrete them.
So in fixing things, you're making your body work harder.
Well, when you say fixing things, let's look at that word fixing. If you're taking the medication to make the symptom change.
Oh, I see where you're going. You're not necessarily fixing what caused the symptom. You're just putting a Band-Aid on the symptom.
You're changing the symptom, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the symptom cause is still there.
Right.
So, what do you want to do? You want to take care of the problem, or you want to take care of the symptom?
Oh, you want to take care of the problem.
Because if you take care of the symptom and you don't take care of the problem may continue to fester in the body.
And cause other symptoms.
Yes, and that's when we start to get these degenerative changes in the different tissues. And in the bones, you get all this extra bone growth. We call that spurs.
Mm-hmm.
Proliferation of bone cells around the joints. And that's where the cells are full of toxic molecules, and wherever a ligament attaches to the bone, then those bone cells at that attachment point are under a stress, and they start to grow out along that ligament's course.
Ow.
And that's why we see those duckbill bone growths called spurs on the spine when you see x-rays.
Okay. Well, how do you prevent or repair that?
By getting circulation back into the tissues so that you don't build up the toxic molecules.
We're back to the spine.
We are, aren't we? And to mobilization of the joints of the spine so that you break up the congestion, you get the circulation going good, and now the inflammation is reduced because you don't have the buildup of toxic molecules in the cell structure to irritate the cell structure.
Okay.
See? Not only that, but you're repositioning things, starting to get circulation back again, which should have been done with the initial injury.
And how often is that done with the initial injury?
Very rare. Very rare. Although, one of our co-hosts here in the past is Dr. Ergi Gumasanelli, MD psychiatrist, has learned through his own children as well as through his own body how important it is to get right on it right away. Don't let it fester because it causes other problems.
So don't wait to see if it's going to go away. Take care of it.
Right. Yeah, as soon as you get an injury, you want to take care of it. And you just say, maybe, the 5 most dangerous words in the world, maybe it will go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is that 5 words? Maybe it will go away. That's 5 words.
Very good.
All right. So we don't want to fall in that trap. Maybe it will go away. Well, the pain goes away, but the kink doesn't go away.
Right.
So if you want to
The following is a flash flood warning. The National Weather Service in Flagstaff has issued a flash flood warning for the Backbone Fire Scar in Gila County in east central Arizona, Yavapai County in west central Arizona, until 8:15 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. At 5:15 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Doppler radar indicated that heavy rain had fallen over the Backbone Fire Scar. Between 1 and 2.5 inches of rain have fallen. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. Hazard, life-threatening flash flooding. Thunderstorms producing flash flooding in and around the Backbone Fire Scar. Source, radar. Impact, life-threatening flash flooding of areas in and around the Backbone Fire Scar. Some locations that will experience flash flooding include mainly rural areas of Gila and Yavapai counties. This includes the following swimming holes. All swimming holes and waterfalls on Fossil Creek and Fossil Creek Dam, also known as the toilet bowl. Get to higher ground immediately and stay away from Fossil Creek. Flash flood waters and debris will inundate swimming holes and recreation trail crossing washes within and downstream of the Backbone Fire Scar. Repeating, a flash flood warning has been issued until 8:15 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for the following counties in Arizona, Gila and Yavapai.
So, what are some of the drugs? And you know, these are great to use in short term, but they're not great to use long term. So here's a big word for you, Sherry. Paracetamol. Paracetamol.
Paracetamol. And what is that?
That's acetaminophen. You ever hear of acetaminophen?
It has a name brand, right?
It is.
Yeah,
called Tylenol.
Tylenol. Can we just stick with the name brand?
So, that's usually well tolerated in prescribed dose, but overdose is the most common cause of drug-induced liver disease and acute liver failure worldwide.
So is it just taking too much at one time, or is it taking it in smaller doses over time?
It's taking it over time and then taking larger and larger amounts of it over time because the problem was not corrected.
Oh, okay.
And so the pain continued. The body became less functional with that medication to block the pain.
So one used to work and now it doesn't, so I'll take 2.
Right.
And then 2 used to work and it doesn't, so now we're up to 4.
Now you got it. Now you're starting in the toxic range.
Okay.
Toxic meaning that's more than the liver can correct.
So it might be correcting the initial symptom, but you're doing damage to your liver long term.
Yes. And we don't want to do that. So, overdose is the most common cause. The risk of liver injury is influenced by several factors, including the dose ingested, which is what we just talked about. Measurement of blood levels is important in assessing prognosis. You know what that word means?
Enlighten me.
Prognosis means how a person is going to respond in the future, how their body's going to function. That's what the word means. What is the progress of that? It's for making a guess as to the prognosis. Higher levels predicting a worse prognosis of that medication. So you got to keep those medications down at the minimum, and if it's not working, don't increase it.
Find out why.
Find out why, and then start a different program. I would not suggest in the case of musculoskeletal pain going from one drug to another, because if it's a physical, structural problem and you're taking a medication for that problem, you're not correcting the problem. And you're hoping then that the body will find another pathway, and in that new pathway, the pain will stop.
So what is the best option at that point?
Find out what the problem is and fix it.
Ah, so make an appointment with you.
Right. You
Okay.
come on back in and give us a chance to help you. Because we can do that with most people, even into their 90s. People are not too old to respond.
So it's better to get it done quickly, but it's never too late.
Correct. I remember a patient that I was called upon to take care of on a Sunday morning, and he was going to die. He was ready to die. And I said, no, that's not going to happen. So I grabbed him by the neck and I wrenched him one way and I wrenched him the other way. Actually, I was very precise in what I did. I very, very precisely corrected subluxations that I found, and it stimulated his nervous system such that he was able to be taken to the emergency department of the hospital, and a friend of mine, cardiologist, spent 5 hours with him and got him stabilized.
Wow.
But had I not come in and gone after that neck area that works directly with the blood vessels of the heart, he would not have made it that far.
Wow.
Then he stayed good for a year. He got a chance to get all of his paperwork done, get all of his heirs lined out.
Get his affairs in order.
And his affairs in order. And then when he left, this is very interesting, I attended his funeral, and above his casket, an apparition appeared of him, filling up the entire wall, and just a giant. It was very interesting.
Wow.
That doesn't happen very often.
No.
But it did happen there. And he was smiling at everybody. He was a very religious man. He was very much into the energy fields of the universe.
So you helped him find peace.
I did, yeah. It was great. That was very interesting. Very interesting. I think he was one of the originators of the self-realization. No, not that one. It was the yogas in Phoenix. They have
An ashram?
yes, an ashram there. And he was one of the people that was in the very beginning of that in Phoenix.
Wow.
So, yeah, those people used to come to me as their doctor until they educated their own, and then they went on. So, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs is another problem that people have.
NSAIDs.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Individual analgesics rarely induce liver damage, but NSAIDs have emerged as a major group of drugs exhibiting liver toxicity. Well, I could use a big word called hepatotoxicity. That means liver toxicity. Both dose-dependent and idiosyncratic reactions have been documented. Aspirin, phenylbutazone are associated with intrinsic hepatotoxicity. Idiosyncratic reaction has been associated with ibuprofen, sulindac, phenylbutazone, piroxicam, diclofenac, and indomethacin. Those are a bunch of big words, aren't they?
I recognized ibuprofen.
Doctor, I have a question for you.
Yes.
If someone out there right now is listening, how do they know that they're having a problem with their liver? What's the symptoms? How are they feeling?
Well, let's go back to my beginning here. I had a list of symptoms that people feel.
General grouchiness was on the list, but that's not enough just by itself.
That was the last item, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that could be caused by a lot of things.
That could be caused by a lot of things.
But I mean, I've often heard, and I don't know if it's true or not, what do you think about this? I've been told by medical authorities that the liver can heal itself quite easily if you stop what's bothering
Exactly. That's
the
what we've been
liver in
saying
the
right
first
along.
place. And also, the best herbal supplement is milk thistle. Is that right?
Milk thistle has been shown to be very effective. It's something I take every day, just as a preventive.
Right.
And
Okay. Well, that's important, I think. I'd never heard of it before, but the other thing is to know whether your liver is working right or not, and I think a blood test will show that, correct?
oh yes, but blood tests don't show it right away. By the time the blood test shows the liver not functional, it's already been several months of getting that way.
So the damage has been done.
Well, some of the damage has been done.
Okay, well, they talk about liver enzymes are increased is one of the things that shows something's wrong, right?
Right. But if you turn yellow in your skin, that's jaundice.
The whites of your eyes can turn yellow.
Right.
What about stinging nettle? Have you heard anything about stinging nettle for supporting liver function?
Yes, stinging nettle is a stimulant to the body, and if Dr. Wyrick was here, he could tell you from A to Z about stinging nettle.
I'll ask him tomorrow.
Okay.
Anybody else who wants to know has to come into the office and ask him.
There's something else that I used when I had a general practice in Phoenix quite a bit, and that was bile salts. Desoxycholic acid and dihydrocholic acid. Those are two bile salts, and they have their place, especially if a person has a cholesterol gallbladder stone. Now, the cholesterol gallbladder stone you can't see on a regular x-ray. You can see a calcified gallstone, but not a cholesterol gallstone. So you have to use a dye, or in the past, now we can use ultrasound, because the ultrasound creates a shadow picture. And if you've got a cholesterol gallstone, you can work for a year or two to reduce it, and use desoxycholic and dihydrocholic acid, bile salts. But over all that, you have to get good blood flow. And you have to reduce the things that stop good blood flow. So you have to reduce those foods, IgEG reactions, and you have to make sure that the spine is good. And people don't realize that one of the worst things that can happen to you in your body's chemistry is if you perseverate on some item in your life that isn't right in your mind. And you say it's supposed to be a certain way. And
well, because it's supposed to be doesn't make it so.
Well, in that person's mind it is, but because it doesn't change and they perseverate on it, they cause their body to be in a state of hyper alertness all the time, and that uses up their nutrition and gets more toxic molecules into their system that the liver has to work to clear, and their adrenal glands get wrung out, so to speak, so they don't work too good.
So if you've got somebody who's got an ache on the right side, on the lower right side, or somebody who thinks maybe they've got a little yellow tinge, for whatever reason they think that their liver's not functioning 100%, and they come in and see you, where do you start?
Well, I always start with the spine.
I should have seen that one coming.
Because that's the one that affects it mostly. And then the second thing I do on the same day is I go into the IgG testing to find out what foods their body makes these antibodies toward and causes problems.
So we can stop putting the poison in.
Right. And, if a person will come clean with me, if they have alcoholic tendencies, they've got to stop alcohol. Because that causes cirrhosis of the liver and causes fatty liver, and that results in cirrhosis. So
there's also drugs that affect that, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Steroid drugs, don't they affect the liver quite a bit?
Well, yes. In fact, we were discussing that a little bit ago. Glucocorticoids.
Right.
Are named because of their effect on carbohydrate metabolism. They promote glycogen storage in the liver. An enlarged liver is a rare side effect of long-term steroid use in children. The classical effect of prolonged use both in adult and pediatric populations is steatosis. That's fat in the stool. We have a caller.
Go ahead, caller. You're on.
Good evening, Dr. Gear. Sherry, this is Sue Blau.
Hi, Sue.
Hi. I'm listening to your program this evening. Very interesting. And I just want to share that I've been following Dr. Gear's protocol and noticing a difference. As a child, I experienced a whiplash that was never attended to. And then 60 years later, Dr. Gear explained much of my past ailments, which I couldn't get answers to, and he immediately went to the spine and told me that I believe that the signals from your brain were blocked in much of what was happening to you throughout your life. And so through repeated doctor visits, office visits, I've been noticing a huge difference.
That's great.
It is. It really is. And
we've been able to break up some of the congestion you've had for 60 years in your life, and that allows the blood to flow and allows the nerves to work, and then the organs that those nerves go to can work better, and so your whole chemistry starts working better.
Correct. It is, and I can feel the difference. I've been following the diet with the IgG, and I was quite shocked at some of the things that were causing adverse reactions, things that I love to eat. So I've been slowing down on that and introducing other suggestions that were made for my diet. And yeah, it's a good forward direction. I can see the difference. I can feel the difference, too.
Well, you have been a very strong proponent of natural health measures, yoga, exercise, positive mental attitude, but you had this block in your spine.
That was it, up by the top spine area and the cervical area.
Right.
Yeah.
You had a kink in the neck.
Correct. A pain in my neck.
Sue, what were some of the differences you noticed right away when you started following the diet?
When I started following the diet, well, my stomach kind of shrunk a bit. I've always been regular, but no, let's see, hiccups or regurgitation. What is that called? Acid reflux?
Belching?
None of that. That's all gone.
Ladies don't belch, doctor. It's acid reflux.
Oh, yes, true.
Yeah, the bloating has left. Yeah, just a lot of good, positive experience from changing just a few things in your everyday, habits. So, and I'm also taking the Wobenzyme N, and that seems to be keeping me flexible, I'll say. And I do a lot of yard work here on my place, and my endurance is increasing. So there's a lot of good positive effects that are taking place just with simple, to me, they're simple and they're easy. I've always been in one that believes in holistic approach. Ever since I was in high school, I followed that. Didn't get into, the sodas and the fast foods and such things like that, but just knowing the foods that aren't for you is a big plus. That's something that's important, because we don't realize, even though you enjoy eating them, that they don't enjoy working with you. So
that's very well stated.
Yes, it is. That's that's what it's all about. She really nailed that one.
Yeah, well, I just give the thanks to Dr. Gear and Dr. Wyrick for their passion and experience and just devotion that they give to each one of us who come crying at their door.
I don't think I've ever seen you come in crying, Suze.
Oh, there was a day.
She came in really crying Saturday, and I had to treat her Sunday also.
I've never experienced such a thing, but that's part of the healing process, so.
It is. You have to go through that crisis. And, we all do that, everybody.
Right.
Working the process of getting healthy again.
And I did hear you comment that when a crisis occurs, jump on it now. Don't wait 60 years.
That's it exactly.
Yeah. Don't think it's going to go away.
No, those are the most dangerous words in the world, that phrase.
5 words. Yes, sir.
So, well, thank you so very much, Susie, for calling in and telling us your experience.
You're welcome.
It's really great to hear from you.
All right, we'll be seeing you soon.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
She brings up a really good point there, and that is, so many times I've had something happen where I don't feel right, and I think, well, it'll go away. But sometimes, when it doesn't, then by the time you finally go to the doctor, it's maybe too late. Or if not too late, it would have been better to go earlier.
Right.
It's never too late, but it is better to get it as soon as you can.
You don't want the body to begin to heal in the jammed, twisted positions that happen during injuries and accidents.
You need to listen to your body. One of the things you find out as you get older is that the gut feelings really mean a lot. And when something tells you this isn't right, and have intuition, listen to it, because usually it's right. and your body is usually talking to you and telling you these things, right?
Absolutely.
One of the worst things I've heard anybody say is, I'm not going to go in to see the doctor. There's nothing they can do about it anyway.
Right.
Well, if you don't go in, you're not going to know.
And most of the time what they're talking about is there's no drugs that are going to fix this. So why am I going to go to the doctor that gives me drugs?
Right. Well, you don't have to go to one that's going to give you drugs. There are other alternatives.
There's a number of us in Payson that treat people with structural problems. I've been doing it for a lot of years, and it's close to 10 years now here in Payson I've been doing this. Mm-hmm. It's really nice.
And for those people who feel like there's something that's not quite right, and they don't think there's anything that can be done about it, the doctor can't fix it, it's just the way it is, well, Dr. Gear offers a free 15-minute consultation. So what have you got to lose? Give me a call, you spend 15 minutes, talk to the doctor, and he can let you know whether or not there's something we can do about it.
What you've got to lose is your fear.
That's right, and maybe your pain.
Well, because if you face it head on, and you find out what the real problems are, then you can begin to take care of it. Mike, you did that 4 years ago. You started coming out of the hole that you were in health care. And you've told people about that lots of times on the air.
That's right. And, you've helped me tremendously, and your approach is exactly right. And as a matter of fact, it's exactly what my doctor, my primary MD physician recommended. Is you have to find an alternative. I don't care if it's acupuncture, massage, whatever. You need to find something that you can do to correct your problem. And we can't help you other than give you drugs to take away the pain.
We talk about it taking a little bit of time. I have injuries in my spine from stupid things I did as a child and teenager and young adult. I'm sure that all the men out there will relate to that.
Some of the women too.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. The barrel racing women that fall off the horses going around the barrel, and a whole bunch of other things like that. But I've been trying to get treatment on my spine all the time because I was raised in a chiropractic family, and my father and my aunt. I've had cousins that were chiropractors. I've had more than 200 chiropractors work on me over the years, treat me, trying to correct my problems. But I finally found one.
200?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
He's been going a long time.
Going through college, after college, I had students come in as mentors. I taught them. I developed the technique of treating because none of them had the passion or the strength or the knowledge to take care of my problems. So I did a lot of things on my own, getting my staff to do what I told them to do. However, a year ago, I found this chiropractor out in Snowflake. Mike, you know him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I've been getting treatments every week for a year now. And the reason I'm bringing this up is for people to know old problems have to be chipped away at. You can't fix them all at once. So you have to keep working at it, break up the congestion. And the body shifts, and you find a new paradigm of balance, and then it shifts again and again as you continue to work your way out of the hole. Mike, you've been through it all.
Yep, that's for sure. And, I find myself thinking, well, I'm fine now. You've helped me or whatever. And then all of a sudden I start having, pain again and in my back and some problems like that. And I just need to have a treatment every now and then.
Well, what's happening is your body balance. And I want to bring this up because yesterday I had an adjustment from Dr. Bowman in Snowflake, and he finally got my left lower sacroiliac down near my tailbone to break loose the fixation. I felt it move. A few weeks ago, I felt the whole sacrum move. So it's one step at a time, but they're all coming loose, step by step by step. And I had this terrible right shoulder pain because of an old injury that I had up there. It's now coming around, but it's right on the verge of being a problem. Yet it's not going to be a problem because I'm correcting it. I'm working with it. So it takes everything to make it happen. I've got a really good masseuse, Lori Nelson here in Payson. I got Dr. Bowman in Snowflake. I've got my own staff, Lori Cheney, and
Dr. Wyrick and Morgan Ellenberg.
Yeah, those two as well. And so we're able to, all of us get a piece of the action and get everything straightened out. But it takes a whole approach, a whole person approach, not just one thing. And on liver function, there are products, natural products that have been found to be effective in livers. There are amanita mushrooms, particularly the destroying angels, and kava, and aflatoxins. And then there's the pyrrolizidine alkaloids, which occur in some plants that could be toxic. Green tea extract is a growing cause of liver failure due to its inclusion in more products. But those are because people are getting too much of it. So remedies, ackee fruit, bajolian, camphor, copaltra, psychosin, garcinia, kava leaves, and a whole bunch of other ones here. Horse chestnut leaves, valerian. Valerian's an interesting plant. It's been used for more than 4,000 years. It was first written up in Egypt as something to relax the nervous system.
Valerian's used for everything from migraines to sleep aids to apparently liver.
And, this synthetic prescription drug was named after valerian.
Could it be Valium?
Yes. Because most doctors were used to prescribing valerian, and so when the synthetic came out that would do a similar type thing, they named it Valium.
Which is a synthetic, which is then hard on your liver that has to metabolize that.
Correct. So, people who take these medications long term for their benefit need to have super duper nutrition so that they don't use up their nutrition molecules in detoxifying the prescription drug. So we can work hand in glove with their prescribing doctors for those medications if they really truly need them, and we can help the person have the right nutrition to go with it.
So the body can take care of itself and let the drug do what it needs to do.
Right. So that's the best of both worlds. You've heard that many times. So we've got to test nutritional status. Now we've got this little real simple, easy test called the S3. And that shows us generally how the liver is functioning, along with whether or not a person takes enough carotenoids in their diet.
Yes, I took the S3. And the scariest part about it was going to my doctor and showing him the results that said that either I've never eaten a vegetable or perhaps I'm not digesting properly. And I'm leaning toward the digesting properly. And I'm working on that. I've given myself a month. I'm going to eat better. I'm getting my regular adjustments, and I'm going to take the test again and see how I'm doing. So, absolutely painless test. You place your hand on a little device. There's no blood. There's no pain. It tell you, see what your number is. But super easy, and we do it all the time.
And we don't even charge for it.
And we don't charge for it.
It was developed by University of Utah, right?
Yes, the University of Utah Research Department in Science developed it. It's a standard laboratory instrument. It uses a cold laser, and the way it works is that when the cold laser beam goes into the body's tissues in the hand, and it meets a carotenoid molecule, that laser wavelength is altered. And then it bounces it back to the machine, and the machine counts it. And then after a 1 minute period of time, it is counted 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 molecules, and that's the score that a person gets.
It's so easy and it's so quick. You just put your hand on it, and it shows somewhere on the scale what's the top, what's the medium, where you are on the whole range. That's what I like about it. It shows that, I've taken it many times. The first time I took it, it showed that I was about a medium range. And then I decided maybe I need to eat more salads, more greens. Let's see what I can do. And then the next time I took it, it was much higher. So it really shows what you put in your body, whether it's working or not.
Yes, it really, really does do that. And the reason I give it to people for no charge is because I want people to help themselves. And I want to remove the obstacle of money from them seeing how their body's working. And so that's why we do it. It costs me money every month to have the machine. I rent the machine from the University of Utah, actually New Skin people.
Some doctors charge $65, $70 for that test.
It's worth it.
Well, I think so too, but it's fantastic. It's just part of your general practice that you do that. It's great.
It's a really good reminder. Everything you put in your body is either going to help you or hurt you. And it's a good reminder when you see your number that, like you said, maybe it's time to eat a few more salads. Right. Put in a few more helpful things.
I want to make an announcement. In fact, Sherry, you might want to make the announcement about tomorrow. We're going to have a one-on-one workshop.
We are indeed. Tomorrow night we're going to have a one-on-one workshop at Back to Basics, but unfortunately, Dr. Gear, that one has filled up. Oh. If people are still interested in coming and learning a little bit more, we have another workshop Thursday night at our office. If you'd like to attend, just give us a call. There's no charge, and I would be happy to get you in.
And we have a PowerPoint presentation with a great big screen, plus you have a chance to pick my mind. That might be not very good. There's not much there.
There's lots of pickings there. You're fine.
So we have this detoxify your life. That's the theme of this month. Mm-hmm. Next month it's going to be a different theme, but this month it's how to detoxify your life.
And if there's something you're interested in learning about, we don't have a theme picked for next month yet. Give me a call and I'll suggest it to the doctor. We'll see what we can do for you. If you've got a group of people that you'd like to bring, just let us know. We can make accommodations. We'd be happy to see you.
I've had some patients that we've done that with years ago. I've done these kind of talks for 20 years, and it's fun. I really enjoy helping people that I thought that knew a whole lot about health, and they sit in on these workshops that we do. They say, I never knew that.
Well, there's always more to learn.
So what I try and do is I try and put everything into pre-kindergarten. Make it simple.
See, that's part of my job, doctor, is I translate for you. I translate from doctor to human.
And I work hard to translate that myself, and I don't always do it, do I?
You're getting better.
Thank you.
Getting better.
Thank you. When I first went to Toastmasters as a young doctor, just a couple years into practice, I gave my first speech, and I used a word that I thought everybody knew, and that word was subluxation. When I got finished with the talk, my fellow Toastmasters said, "Hey, that was a great talk, but what does the word subluxation mean?" So I had to explain it.
What does it mean?
Oh,
Aren't you going to tell us? We don't know.
that means a kinky joint in the spine. Something that's not working correctly. It's interfering with circulation, and the nerve's not working right. And then when that happens, the blood vessel that nerve goes to can't work properly in the right time sequence with the circadian rhythm programming of the DNA molecule that made you.
You didn't know that, Mike?
I've heard the term a million times, but I really wasn't sure what it meant. No.
Now, that's the chiropractic definition of subluxation.
Okay.
There is an anatomical definition of subluxation, and that's real simple. You know what a dislocation is?
Sure.
That's bones that are completely separated from each other in a joint. A luxation is bones that are halfway separated from each other in a joint, and a subluxation is bones that are less than half, but not perfect. That's that's below luxation.
They all sound painful.
It's all painful, yeah. So it's we toxified. Did we detoxify everybody in Radioland today?
I hope so.
It was great hearing from Suze, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a wonderful person. She takes care of three people that need help every day. So we are going to have more of this tomorrow at Back to Basics, and again next week at Back to Basics, and then we're going to continue with this at our office, Payson Health and Wellness, which is on the 260 highway, right in between
The American Legion and the 260 Cafe.
Right, and just west of Culver's. So you've got an idea as to where we're located. We've been there for quite a few years now, and we want to help you have a better life. There's no cost for the workshops. The only cost is going to be that you might find out how to make yourself healthier. So come to us next week on the show. Come to us at Healthy Habits, and come to us at our office for these workshops. And I think you will find quite a bit of good information for your life.
Absolutely.
So come in next week on the radio, and we'll have a new topic for you. Check the paper, and if you've gotten yourself on our mailing list, which you can do so easily, we'll send out to you information on what the topic is. And you can also get a newsletter called To Your Health. It's a pretty darn informative newsletter. Mike, thank you so much for having us here.
Doctor, thank you for everything you do. It's fantastic how many people you have helped and continue to help with all these free seminars and lectures and things of that nature. It's fantastic.
It's what we're here for in life.
All right.
You've been listening to Doctor's House Call, aired every Tuesday afternoon from 5 till 6 p.m. To call Dr. Gear after the show during his business hours at Payson Health and Wellness Center, 801 East Highway 260, call 474-7409 or go to his website, drbobgear.com. That number again, 474-7409.